Hi, it's Thursday, so here comes another chocolate maker for you. Today we're going to do the American chocolate maker, Goodnow Farms. Goodnow Farms was started in 2016 by Tom and Monica Rogan, 2016-2015. It is literally done on a farm. It is done on a farm, a 225-year-old farm in Sudbury, Massachusetts. The name of the farm comes from a family that lived on the farm and owned it in the 1800s. So Goodnow, the Goodnow family, once upon a time actually lived on Goodnow Farms. But let's back it up a little bit and get to know Tom and Monica, and then we'll try some of the chocolate. Oh, I didn't show you Goodnow Farms. So I actually have, here's the new packaging, here's the old packaging. So that's who we're going to be talking about today, Goodnow Farms. So Monica, before they moved to Massachusetts, they lived in LA. Monica was in real estate development, and Tom owned a TV production company called Authentic Entertainment. They made cable TV shows. Some of them were Emmy Award-winning shows. He's an Emmy Award-winning TV producer. You might know Ace of Cakes or The Best Thing I Ever Made, amongst some of the shows that they made. In 2010, they sold part of the company. In 2015, they sold the rest of the company. And that was, I believe, part of their 5-year plan to make chocolate their full-time occupation. So one day in LA, they were going to a vintage furniture store called Zen Bunny. Bunny? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Anyway, they went to this vintage furniture store, and they actually had some chocolate way in the back that store had made themselves. And this was like a revelation. They didn't even know you could make your own chocolate. And actually, Monica has said that before this, she didn't really like chocolate that much. But after they had that chocolate from the store, that everything changed. So later, Tom went back to the store, which is about an hour away from their house. Not a short trip to get chocolate. And they had discovered that the store was closed. And on the ride home, he thought, if they can make chocolate, maybe I can do it too. So they literally started toying around with the idea in 2008 and experimenting a little, and came up with, like I said, the 5-year plan to make chocolate full-time. So in 2015, they bought the farm in Massachusetts. That's funny, it just sounds like the cliche, they bought the farm. Neither one of them has professional training in chocolate or in food. They're all self-taught. They have been through lots of trial and error. They started off like many recent chocolate makers did, where they started off in their personal kitchen, ordered beans online, used small batch machines. They spent a year converting the garage on their farm into a chocolate factory. It was only supposed to be the second floor. It turned out to just take over the whole garage. And I read that now they have to park their cars outside in the winter in Massachusetts. That's gotta suck. But they're doing it all for chocolate. So they are in Massachusetts. They're making chocolate. They are direct traders of chocolate. They only use cacao beans from farmers where they have established a personal relationship. They exclusively use beans from the Americas, not because they want to exclude anyone else, but because they both speak Spanish, and so it was just easier for them to develop relationships with the farmers there. So I have a few of they've won plenty of awards considering how young they are. That's awesome. So this one, Mexican beans from Peru. You'll probably recognize some of these names. Other makers use the same beans. The one I'm going to open today, I have in the new packaging and the old packaging. So I always say this name wrong. Asochivite. Asochivite. So this is the old packaging, And this one is the new packaging. So I think the bars are pretty much the same. It's just the packaging. They changed the packaging. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we open it. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm not going to open the older one. This one is getting close. It's April 2020 is its expiration date. It's getting close to its expiration. So I want to make sure that you see what one of their bars look like when it's in its prime. So we're going to open this one. The Asochivite maple sugar, 70%. So let's flip the camera around and do that. All right, so this Asochivite, these beans come from one of their origin trips that they took to San Juan Chivite, Guatemala. Asochivite is kind of a mash of the words association of San Juan Chivite. And when they took this trip to this area of Guatemala, it really impacted them. They discovered that the farmers, the fermentation and drying facility that they were using was in really bad shape, and they didn't know if they could keep producing cacao. They had been promised government funds, but it hadn't come in yet. And so Tom and Monica provided the funds for a brand new fermentation and drying area, which basically allowed the farmers to actually increase their production. So that was awesome. So these are one of the beans that they use. And let me tell you a little bit. Let's take a look. So obviously they direct trade, so they're doing ethical sourcing, which is important to them. They are paying premiums, so above fair trade prices. Let's see what we else have on here. They do press their own cocoa butter, and I just watched an Instagram live with them where their cocoa butter press had actually exploded and got all over the place. So it's not an easy process to do. Not many makers will do this, press their own cocoa butter, but it does make a difference to the bars themselves. So they've won some awards, the International Chocolate Awards, the Academy of Chocolate. They've won some awards for this in 2018. Beans are from Guatemala. This is an inclusion bar because it has something added other than cocoa mass and sugar. So let's see what else we have back here. Ethically sourced, direct traded, premium dark chocolate. They handcrafted on their New England farm, Sudbury, Massachusetts. Okay, we've got some tasting notes there. Here's the ingredients. Cacao beans, maple sugar, and single origin cocoa butter. So the cocoa butter and the cacao beans are from the same origin, I would suspect. Soy-free, vegan, gluten-free. All right, let's crack it open and give it a taste. So they changed the packaging from this one because they found that their bars are only about half a centimeter thick, and they found that their bars were getting broken and crushed in transport. So they decided to change their packaging so that it would protect the bar more. And I just saw that they're going to change this plastic packaging into something that is compostable, but it was coming from China. And as I'm filming this right now, we're in the middle of the coronavirus shutdown in March 2020. So everything is moving a little bit slower. So they don't yet have their compostable things from China, but they're planning to have this packaging be made out of compostable material soon. So this packaging just protects the bars more. All right, let's open this up. It's a nice looking bar. It's got good color. I don't know if you can pick that up. It's a little bit, kind of got a brown rosy kind of color to it. It's lighter colored for a dark chocolate bar. I can definitely smell the maple. For sure I can smell the maple. Let's warm a piece of it up. Oh, I didn't do the snap. Let's see if we can hear the snap. That's a pretty good snap. Nice snap. It looks well tempered. It looks fine grain. Let's warm a piece of it up. See what we can smell. All right, so when I smell this, I am shockingly getting maple, but I'm also smelling licorice a little bit, which is not what I expected. So I'm getting definitely maple, definitely a sweet, sugary smell, but also a tiny, tiny bit of licorice, which is odd. Let's see. Well, it's not odd. I just wasn't expecting it in this bar. So let's give it a taste and see what we can taste. All right, so when I taste this, I'm not overwhelmed by maple. So there are flavors that you pair with chocolate that sometimes just overwhelm everything else. Mint is one of them. Maple can be one of them. But this one, I can definitely smell the maple, but I don't get so much of a taste of maple in my mouth. Since these beans that are very fruity, this is more like a sour raisin, green banana, woody, earthy sort of flavor in there. As the fruit dissipates, there's some earthiness, maybe a little bit of tobacco, and it's when the aftertaste that it leaves in my mouth is slightly astringent, so I have a dry aftertaste. The bar itself has a really nice mouthfeel. It's silky, melting in your mouth, so great mouthfeel. Just an unexpected group of aromas and flavors in that bar. Not what I expected at all. So that's the Goodnow Farms Asochivite maple sugar with 70% dark chocolate. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to point out is that you're not going to see any certifications on their bar. No organic, no certified fair trade, Rainforest Alliance, whatever all those certifications are. And that's because they believe that it's too expensive for the farmer to do that, and it takes a percentage of the profit away from the farmer. So they try to do that by having personal relationships with the farmers and being involved in the process of down at the cacao farms themselves. What else do I want to tell you about Goodnow first? Oh, Monica is also involved in facilitating gender equality in the cacao farming industry. She has taken trips down there by herself, and the men are like, oh, how was Tom going to eat while you're here? And things like that. But she has gone down there and she's asked the women how do you want to be involved in this process, in the cacao farming and chocolate making process? And they were like, we have no idea. No one's ever asked us that question before. So she is trying to work to bring some gender equality in those areas of the world. So that's the Goodnow Farms bars. They started in 2016, so they're pretty new company. I think that they have, although they've won some awards, I think that they could, experience will improve their bars even more. Next week, we'll have another chocolate maker. If you like learning about chocolate makers and learning about the stories behind the craft chocolate, please make sure to subscribe and like, and you'll get one every Thursday. Thanks.